572-0383 or 572-0215. REV-UP St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
It's now time for Unrestricted, live on REV-UP St. Lucia 95.9 FM, hosted by the lovely, beautiful, young-looking Lotus.
Andre, you see that last one? That's a jab.
No,
I'm young,
no,
Andre. Excuse me.
no.
Good morning.
Folks, let me tell you, I have Lotus on WhatsApp
God,
there.
Andre.
I have Lotus on WhatsApp.
Andre, I'm a very private.
Let me see.
You don't have to do all of
Hold on.
that.
Let me see if I can show them.
No, you no, don't do that.
I saw I'm looking at a 16-year-old there. Wait.
Good morning, Andre. Good morning,
Lotus,
everyone.
you must tell me the secret so I can do those
I'll
things.
tell you the secret afterwards, Andre. You're making me blush. Good morning. Welcome to another Unrestricted. Happy to have everyone back. Everyone on YouTube, on X, online, Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
Radio Land.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Unrestricted. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Andre, for your warm welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay, Andre, we're just going to get into the show. This morning, Andre, a couple, probably maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was having a conversation with someone, and they were just relating a story to me, and I thought, I've heard this so many times, so I should probably have a little discussion about this, Andre.
Mm-hmm.
This morning, listeners and callers, I rather suspect many people have had an experience. We're going to talk about building contractor fraud. So people who build houses, and we're specifically going to talk about residential, property, because there's so many times you want to add a piece on your house or build a new house, and I mean, you know how emotional it is when we're building our first house, Andre. Mm-hmm. Many people get it's such a goal, for some people.
It's such a what you said?
A goal.
A goal, yes.
A goal you've met,
yes.
people. So it's an exciting time, but it's also a very emotional time because, you run into problems with contractors. Sometimes you have big fights, but I want to talk about those people who take their money, they take their time, they dream, and then all of a sudden they get a contractor that's either a family or friend or even just a normal contractor who come in and just disrupt things, take all their money, and sometimes you find their houses just standing unfinished because the houses are because the money was taken, or you have people who want to do an improvement, maybe fix up a roof, fix up this and that, and in tutus the money is gone. Mm-hmm. And it's not for the lack of the money, it's because the person building the thing for you is unscrupulous.
Also cost overruns.
Exactly that too. Mm-hmm. So some people end up devastated, Andre. I mean, it is so hard for some people. I mean, that story I was listening to, it's almost like you take all your money, and maybe sometime in your life you're over 50 and you still said, okay, let me use my family member to do something, and they start it and the foundation is what's standing alone, and they've taken your money and just... So I'm sure people, many people have had that experience, and I think it's something we need to really talk about, because sometimes people don't know how to maneuver and how to, even make a complaint or even get something back, some sort of recourse. Mm-hmm. So I was looking at the Investopedia, and there was an article written by Julia Kagan. She's a financial and consumer journalist. And she speaks of the fact that contractor fraud or theft, it is committed by individual contractors or contracting firms hired to renovate, repair, or build residential properties. Contractor fraud is in the residential sector may also be referred to as home improvement scams. So we want to talk about just the residential sector because, of course, if you're going to go into the commercial, I would want to have an expert here with me to explain certain things. But let's just we as anything else with Unrestricted, we just want to talk about what are the red flags we should be looking for, and how you can probably maneuver the whole thing, and what sometimes we do that enable or help people to scam us out of our money. Because people are working really hard, Andrea, and at the end of the day, you do not want to just make an investment in building, and then to have it just standing there and all your money is gone.
Or you can't finish it.
Or you cannot finish it.
Because of the cost overruns.
All that too. Cost overruns, but additionally, people do a lot of things that cause cost overruns as well, Andre. And sometimes the contractors do not take the fall. They just leave. Some of them just leave, and you're left with that. So it encompasses a range of issues, from shoddy work to using substandard materials to escalating project costs and overbilling. So it often ends up costing the victim twice, because apart from losing a significant amount of the bad to the bad player, whose inferior work may cause damage to previously undamaged parts of your home, a legitimate contractor may also have to be paid to bring the work up to speed, because even sometimes when you have hired them and they've done something that's wrong, you still have to go and pay another set of money, Andre. And how many times that have happened to us?
Oh, yes.
Where you get a plumber, even things like, get a plumber, you get an electrician
right.
to do something for you, and the work is not done well at all, or they don't know what they're doing, and in tutus, you have to go back and get somebody to redo the work.
Yes.
That means you're paying twice the amount. Could you imagine
Yes.
how some of us really feel when these things happen?
You know what happened to me quite a few times already, especially with plumbers. They get to the point and they say to you, there's nothing that can be done about that. That's it. You can't fix this problem. Okay?
And then you get another one.
You have to pay them. You have to pay them for the point that they got to, right? So they got from A to C.
Yes.
And now you have to finish D to Z.
That's what I'm saying. And I mean, the thing about it is that a lot of us, we don't realize that this creates a lot of emotional stress, Andre. People cry. People, just become
You forgot about the financial stress too.
That's what I'm saying. They
You said
cry,
emotional, boy.
emotional, financial, but I mean, coming from the financial stress, it really takes a toll on your emotional well-being. And when we are stressed emotionally because of financial stress, it's just everything goes downhill.
Yes.
And I don't think sometimes the people that are involved think of how the impact, how bad that could be. I mean, you have people who make a decision that they will never build again. You know what I mean? And the thing just stands up there, and years it's just standing there. It's just standing there.
Or never use that particular person ever again.
Well, of course. Of course. I mean, you have that. If somebody is going to take your money and not give you what you paid for, you're not going to want to use that person. And sometimes you end up having to be stuck with them because you do not want to pay another person more money. Sometimes people make that decision, right? Because they keep on saying, yes, I will deliver, yes, I will deliver. And you end up giving them all your money. And at the end of the day, it's still not done the right way. So this is something that I think is really, really serious, Andre. And I'm sure our callers, our listeners, would have gone through that, especially the homeowners will tell you the kind of stress they've had even when they're building walls. You can be building just a wall. Some people take all your money and the wall is half. And you pass by the house and you're thinking to yourself, how come this person do a half fence or a half wall? But it's because the money is done. They've been scammed out of their money, and they don't have any money.
And they come back to you and say to you, hey, you need to come up with some extra a few $1,000 more
to finish the job.
Yeah, because they give you an estimate as to what it's going to cost.
Yes, exactly that. And we're going to talk about the fact that
so you go to the bank, right? You go to the bank and you ask for whatever it is that they said it's going to cost.
That's right.
And they come back and say to you it's an extra 50,000 or something like that.
Exactly.
Then you have to go back to the bank now, and there's a very real possibility you do not qualify for the extra cash.
Exactly that. So these are the things we want to talk about today. I need you to give our numbers, because I definitely know that a few of us would want to engage us as we break this down.
It'd be interesting. I hope we get quite a few calls to hear people's experiences.
Yes.
And it'll be good, because I think those contractors, those I don't know, handymen, whoever, right, need to get some pressure.
Yeah, man, because honesty is important.
Yeah, let people give you
Because
their stories.
Notwithstanding, there are some people, there are some contractors. Let me say that as well. Let's put a caveat in. We're not saying that it's everybody. There are some that are fantastic. I mean, you hear people speak about them, and you get some of the stories, and people have had a fantastic experience. But we heard too many times. That's why I think we need to discuss this.
And I hope you're not limiting it to just contractors.
No, well,
Yeah.
Dishonest
Yeah.
work.
That's
People
right.
who come to do work at your house. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
And even building. So we extended it to the contractors. But, just the dishonesty, it needs to stop.
There's a guy, just before I give the numbers, there's a guy who was doing some work for me at my house. Okay? And every time he comes home, right, he says to me, "Wheeze we," wheeze we. Wheeze we.
That's a red flag, Andy.
Right? Well, I guess you're right. So wheeze we. Every time wheeze we. No problem. Okay, do the work. Charging a lot of money, but nonetheless, this is wheeze we. Okay? So one time I gave him something to do, and he never showed up. Right? Now I have this thing about loyalty, and maybe that's
And respect. Respect as well.
Yeah. Loyalty. I give you the work, all right, and then you just take me for granted. I kept calling him for about 3 weeks, okay, because as I said, this whole loyalty thing.
Yes.
And he never showed up. The last time I saw him was at my brother Tony's funeral. And when he walked inside, I looked at him. He said to me, "We could talk another time."
Yes.
We could talk another time, because he knows he never showed up. Never showed up. Anyway, okay. So the fixed line is 572-9710, 572-9710, or WhatsApp 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. Again, the fixed line 572-9710, or WhatsApp 287-0971. But Lotus, I really wonder how they feel, right, doing that to somebody, especially somebody who's been loyal to them.
But that's what I'm saying.
How do they feel?
Sometimes it's their family, it's friends, people you know. I don't know how people get away with these things, but we're going to see what happens to them, because the thing about it is that what goes around comes back around, and it really is true that your reputation. St. Lucia is very small. The world is smaller, as you know. We live in a world that's online now.
Yeah.
But St. Lucia is very small, meaning that all of us know each other. So you could imagine you went and built a house for your cousin or your family member, your friend, and you did something like that. You don't think people will talk about it?
Exactly.
And all of a sudden you cannot get work because of what you've done.
And especially the person who's been jilted. They don't want to see you anymore.
They don't want to see you anymore, Andre. One of the things, of course, in my research, we do need a building permit. A building permit is required to build a house in St. Lucia. You cannot commence any development or construction without prior written permission from the relevant authorities. So all of that needs to be taken into consideration sometimes when we just take people to build things for us or do things without making sure that people have the right permits, they have the right licenses, they are doing the right thing. And I think a lot of times we want to save some money too, so we do not use the right channels. We try to say, okay, we know you, like you were saying, the level of loyalty, I know you, so you can come over and do the thing. But we will see that, let's look at, I don't want to lose my train of thought. That happens sometimes. We will see that some of the things that some of the signs of contractor fraud, some of the things that happen that make us realize that something is wrong in the first place, right? So, it looked like I lost my... Andre, have you been defrauded whilst I look for my page?
Well, I wouldn't say defrauded, but I've been, held. I've ended up in the lurch.
Okay.
Yeah, because of somebody who just didn't do what they promised to do, or they take a very long time before they can finish the work.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go.
I hope I hope they're listening.
Well, of course.
I hope they're listening,
because they need to know that they're doing something that is wrong.
Yeah,
right?
people keep promising you, I will come. I will. Now you know the thing, Lotus. Sometimes they do good work,
That's the thing. That's the thing too.
Some of them do
the work is
very
really
good work.
But again, they shabby. They don't come back. Sometimes they overcommit. And that's why sometimes they cannot come and finish the work.
Yes.
Or they take your time. And time is money. You understand?
And here you are calling and calling and calling because the work is not finished. My gosh.
So let's look at some of the techniques that are involved in this and some of the practices you may encounter, especially older relatives and some people who are not too literate, or persons who do not show too much interest because they believe and trust the contractor. So sometimes we trust somebody, right? Even somebody like me or somebody who, we can read and write. We figure, okay, you know what you're doing, so we don't get too involved, right? We don't get too involved, and that's the first mistake. Or sometimes an elderly person who probably not, maybe they just want to finish a wall, or they want to put do some home improvements, and people feel that they can take advantage on them. Yes. Or some people who are less literate, Andre, and they figure they can pull the wool over their eyes without, being honest about the whole thing. One of the red flags, we're going to look at some of the red flags, is that they're saying one is the substantial upfront cash advance. Some people, this is one of the most prevalent contractor fraud situations. The contractor demands a significant upfront advance to order materials and equipment, and then either disappears with the full amount, delays the project by lengthy periods, or does shabby work that is not worth the thousands of dollars that the homeowner may have already given. Right? So that's a red flag, Andre, where some of them want an upfront amount of cash and they hassling you, like they want this, they need this to buy this, buy this. And then the thing about it again is that we are not involved. We say, okay, what you need this and that, and then they hassle you for the upfront a big amount of cash. And then when you look to see what's happening, it does not equate to what you have given. That's a sign that your money is finishing fast. You understand, Andre? You give the person tell you, okay, we need an upfront amount of $30,000, and when you look, you can only see a couple blocks have been up, but you don't know where the $30,000 have gone. This is a red flag, and you need to pay attention to that, and you need to ask. The thing about us in St. Lucia, I find, is our communication skills. We lack that. So sometimes we do not want to communicate enough to ask about things and to ask certain questions and to say no if you do not want something that you see is happening on your project.
Now that you mentioned that, Lotus, I was just wondering, because the bank, when you take a loan to do those things, the bank doesn't just, I think once upon a time, they just give you all the money, carte blanche.
No.
Now they give you in stages.
They always used to do that, I think because I started working in a bank, and I remember that some of the disbursements must happen when certain things are done.
Right, exactly. Yes. So, that part of the job is completed, then they can move on.
But there are loopholes in that, Andre, because the thing about it is that sometimes the paying attention to the actual progress, there are loopholes there where something may not be completely done, or something may not have cost all of that, but the money is going down. So these things need to be tightened. I think we definitely need improvements in
the point I was making with the bank is that maybe the banks operate in that fashion for the same reason we're talking about, that you'll not get more money until whatever you're supposed to be doing is finished.
Is finished, and it's finished well.
Exactly.
You understand? The other thing I see sometimes, some people tell you they spend a lot of time on their projects themselves.
Yes.
There are some people, they don't leave the contractor alone, and that's good. I have seen.
Well, if you have the time for that sort of thing.
Well, if you have the time. You're right. Unfortunately, some people don't have the time. But some people come every day. They're on the project. They monitor. Because sometimes if there's something in the design, you ask for, all of a sudden they did not do it. It's missing a door, or it's missing a step or something. And you're there to say, no, this is not the design, or, can we correct that? So people have to pay attention to that. One time when you see somebody asking you for a lot of money, pay attention to that.
And there's some people who just don't know about those things, especially females, and they put the trust in you.
Andre, you could not have said that better in terms of the female. I have been a victim of that. Not for building, but for vehicles. I find females, especially when you're single, if you go to do a servicing or certain things, they figure you don't know certain things about your vehicle. That's why I think females need to spend the time understanding your ride, know the basic things, because people could charge you so much money for things that they would not charge a male.
True thing.
If they know that a guy is coming with you, the guy is looking at them, they would not charge you. But if you're alone, they figure you're really stupid or you don't know this or that, and sometimes some of us don't have time to research the market, so we don't really know what's existing, and we pay so much more for something. And when you meet somebody else, they're like, what? How much did you pay? You paid all that money? But no, a servicing is X amount. So you're very right about that. I think a lot of times females should make sure, even if you don't have a husband, go with somebody that you know well and who can help to protect you. Number 2 is leaving out key project details and lowball offers. Contractors can also defraud homeowners by deliberately leaving out key details of the project's scope so that the homeowner is actually getting much less than what they are paying for. Completing the rest of the project can end up with the total cost going well beyond the homeowner's initial budget. So this category also includes lowball offers, wherein the contractor intentionally quotes a price that is well below the going rate for similar work, and then tax on additional prices that may result in the final cost being much greater than the initial estimate. So you have to pay attention to the fact that some key parts of the project are being left out, or you get lowball offers. You have to be looking out for that. Some of us get really low quality of what is going on. And the thing about it is that some people do not correct their mistakes. Some contractors are so dishonest that they do not correct. Recently, a guy was saying to me that they were building the foundation, like the DRC, when they're doing the iron work down in the mud. So they build the foundation. And when it rains, they're supposed to take out the water and, do all of that. And he was quarreling about the fact that the lady was not paying him extra for taking out the water. And I felt to myself, but if that's part of your job, shouldn't you be doing that? Now, you see sometimes where the dishonesty starts.
Exactly.
They may not want to take out the water.
And the person now who they're working for doesn't even know that they're supposed to do it.
Exactly. So these are some of the things that we have.
So these individuals come, as you said, they charge you more.
They charge you more.
Because you just don't know.
And you end up paying more for something that that is not part of that. They should have been doing that. Running into unexpected problems that require additional cash. That's another scam they use. This involves where the contractor says he's running into unforeseen or major problems. Now, some things happen that are unforeseen and it can be true. So for instance, especially when you're doing home improvement, sometimes if you're changing, maybe you want to take out a wall or something, and you realize that a lot of the foundation there has rotted, so there are things that come up that you wouldn't know. But sometimes what they're saying is that they look for additional issues, and you end up paying more money for things that are not there. Andrew, give the numbers again.
Yes. The fixed line is 572-9710. Fixed line 572-9710, or you can WhatsApp 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. Again, the fixed line 572-9710, or WhatsApp 287-0971. I'll be looking out for your calls. Yeah.
Yes. Let us know if you run into some of these issues, and how you fixed it or what you did to solve it, or if you just took the loss, because some people just take the loss.
That too.
And some of the properties are just standing there and people just not finishing it because they don't have any more money to put into it,
or you just move on to somebody else.
Yes, exactly. And we were talking about the fact that sometimes the new problems, it comes up, and then you have to pay more money to fix the problem, leaving the homeowner with little choice but to pay it in order to keep the project on track. Because of course, if you have started something, Andre, and they're asking you an additional $5,000, almost all the time your back is against the wall, you may have to pay that $5,000 to keep the project moving. So you see, then we end up paying so much more. You end up paying so much more. You were not supposed to pay that extra $5,000, and all of a sudden you have to pay that extra. Sometimes we don't see that coming, and there's no preparation for that.
I hope a contractor probably calls in as well. to give
especially
the,
those
give the
that are really honest, and those that really put their all into their projects, and they believe that their integrity really matter, because some people don't care about their own reputation.
No.
I think that's what it is, Andre. Some people just do not care about their reputation, or I think sometimes people have their own financial struggles and they build in something for you and they take your money to pay bills.
Yes.
They take your money to pay bills.
Or take your money to pay somebody else who they bluffed us on.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, these are some of the things that we have to take into consideration, that when you're choosing somebody to build for you or you're choosing somebody to do something for you, you should, and we will see what you should be doing. You should be asking questions. You should be looking for multiple quotes. You should be, interested in what you're about to spend, because really the money is, you have to pay that money, you have to pay that mortgage, you have to pay that loan,
pay the interest,
you have to pay that interest. So you have to show a little more interest in what you're doing. It is your project, and so you have to try to be as present and intentional as you can. The other thing is not obtaining the required permits, right? And that's one of the things I mentioned before, because I was saying in St. Lucia, you do need a building. Some people, a significant construction or renovation projects, it requires a building permit to ensure that the work meets safety codes. And some unscrupulous contractors may get past this requirement so that they don't have to answer to the building inspectors, or either not obtaining the requisite permits or persuading the homeowner to apply for the permit in their name. So you find, you have to, if there's a work permit that is building permit that is required, something that is required to push the work, make sure you get that done. Make sure you take responsibility for that, because some people can say, and especially if we choose people to do a quick thing for us, we don't require certain things, and when you don't have anything, you don't even have a contract. How many of us that have friends call our friends or our family to do things for us, and we have no contract in place? We have nothing written. Nothing is written to say, Andre, I'm going to build a wall for you, even between us, or even, you take it to an attorney to vet it, or whatever. There's nothing.
That's true.
Nothing existing. And sometimes when we want a fast moving thing, we lose sight of that, and that's how sometimes we end up losing our money.
Or sometimes it is somebody who is your friend. You know that they are, in that field. Okay, whatever that may be, a carpenter, joiner, whatever the case may be. This is your friend, and you want to give your friend the job.
Yes. But
sometimes now, the work is bad, it's terrible, right? And sometimes that even can get involved, as far as the friendship now.
Now, Andre, one of the things I don't think you should hire friends for certain things.
Yeah.
I think
I've done it already.
You've done it.
I've done it already.
Because what I think, it affects the friendship, and sometimes people do not know how to separate friendship from business. There are some people who, you're their friend, and then and it's also about expectations, because some of us expect that since it's our friend, maybe they will charge us cheaper, maybe they will take the work more seriously, maybe they will give us a stellar job, and at the end of the day, that's not what's happening. Sometimes, as your friend, they charge you more.
Yes. So let me ask you, Lotus, because it's important. How do you maneuver a situation where you have a friend, maybe he does a particular type of work, and there's somebody else, okay, and the friend is aware that you are going to be doing the repairs, or you're building a new home, right? And they're aware of it. They even say to you, "Don't forget to check me." Right?
Andrew, that's a very good question, Andrew. That's a difficult one, because it happens all the time. But I think, again, it's about communication. I think depending on your friendship, you can have a certain agreement. But for me, personally, I try to stay away from friends for certain things. You know what I'm saying, Andre? Although many people might say, no, it's your friend, you should give that person the job. But again, the expectations, even sometimes when people are our friends and they come in to work for us, they take their time, they waste time, because they figure they're your friend, so they don't have to put energy into it. They sometimes then they charge you more, as they're your friend, they expect that you should pay for the thing. Now, it's not that you don't want to pay for it, because you should be able to pay for the service even though the person is your friend. But all that, people watch these things, Andre, and it creates a certain amount of resentment in the friendship,
Yes,
I think.
yes.
So that's why I think for certain things, there are little things maybe, of course, you can give your friend to do it, especially if you've done it before and they've done good work for you. But I think when it comes to big projects, you have to be very careful with that word called friendship and business. They don't mesh very well. They don't work very well.
I was just asking you how you maneuver making the tough decision that I'm not going to give it to you, or you just give it to somebody else, and the friend now they know what's going on.
Well, I think you just communicate that, just because I remember one time I had a friend of mine in her field. I love that field, and I told her boldface, we were having a discussion, and I said, if I was doing X thing, I would not use you. I would not use friends, and I kind of generalize it in terms of friends, and not because I don't love you, but because I really value our friendship, and I don't want it to go awry if anything were to, because again, these are things you don't anticipate. Sometimes things just go wrong. You might be fussy as the person who is receiving the service. You might feel that you're scrutinizing the person closer because he's your friend. You might harass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So things might go wrong. So I would just say, I don't think I want to use friends. I think I'll just, go so that we keep it really, professional. You can say that, Andre, and if the person is your friend and it's part of the communication, at least they can't hold that against you, because you have told them why you're not going to use them, and it's not because they cannot do the work. It's just because you value your friendship. That's a good thing to say. You value your friendship, and it's true, because you value your friendship. You do not want it to go in another direction, so you're not going to give them the work.
All right.
You understand?
Okay. I think we're getting a call.
We have a call?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good
Yes,
morning. Good
we can
morning.
hear you.
Welcome to Unrestricted.
Loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. Yes, I'm a contractor, and I'm calling.
Oh, thanks for calling.
Yeah. Some of the issues, some people have, and I've had an issue with somebody who was a close friend of mine. And one of the issues I had was before the project started, there was an estimate, and I did an estimate. I had a QS do the estimate for me. He gave me the price and everything. That was like before the pandemic.
Yes.
After the pandemic, the price jumped to about, because I went and do another estimate, because I was doing the job and I was like, yeah, how is that coming to that price and whatever? So we did another estimate.
Yeah.
After the pandemic. That was like about maybe the other estimate was done maybe 2023, 2024. The first one was done probably like 2017, 18, somewhere around there. And then we went into some issues, and then I was trying to explain. Like I said, there was an estimate, so there's no way you can I put the person to sit down. I explained to her everything, what's going on, how much it's gonna cost, and everything. The project, the way the project was supposed to be 2 floors, but when the project started, the land was slopey. So I said to her, well, you could build a 3rd floor, you could build the bottom. What we could do, cast the bottom, then you build a 2 upstairs one, and then after you could build the bottom where you could do a bread and breakfast or whatever you want to do there. So that means the cost went up a little more. During the construction, everything went on and everything. So we get to a stage where, and like I said, it was like a friend of mine. So I did not do like, you got to give me this amount before the start. And we went on. You give me that amount, we get to that phase. When we get to that area, then you give me another amount, and we go. So you see exactly what's going on. So after a while, she figured, well, I gave you that amount, why is that spent? And why? I said to her, well, you have the estimate in front of you. Check to see what's going on, how much is spent, and where the project is right now, and if it corresponds. So what's the big deal? So sometimes when you're doing these jobs, the people need to be educated. They need to know what's going on. They need to know how to check the estimate and all what's going on the project. And if they cannot do that, they need to find somebody who could help them do that, so they know, if you give me $10,000, where's $10,000 supposed to take you, because it's written on the estimate.
Really good caller. I do agree, because that's why I said
these are some of the problems. Some of the people who give you the job to do needs to understand, know how to manage your project.
Yes, that's why I said people must be
You have the figures in
interested
front of you.
in what's going on. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Thank you very
understand?
much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah.
You see, so he was saying, that's why I spoke about being involved. He was saying that before COVID, one estimate happened, and then after the pandemic, of course, prices went up, and so there was an adjustment. That's why I was talking about people being involved in their own project. Make sure you know what's going on and that it's in front of you, and you can. And if you don't understand it, have somebody who can help you. Because there he was saying he had that information, and she was still questioning the cost. You see. So, Andre, as we go further, the signs of we were talking about the signs, how you know some of these things are not, like, that's a sign you have to ask a question. Of course, we talk about the pressures of taking a big lump sum amount and you're not seeing the work matching it. We talk about the pressures the person pressure you for an immediate decision. If somebody is after you all the time, they want you to commit to using them or to giving them the cash. That is also a sign where they cannot wait. You don't know what they want to do with the money already. They cannot wait, Andre. They're always in your air. You're supposed to start the project in a month, but in about a week or two, they're really hustling you for the money. That's a sign that something may be up. They only accept cash and ask you to pay everything up front. That's another thing. People are saying you have to just pay attention to these things. Suggest you borrow money from a lender the contractor knows. That's the other thing too. Ask you to get the required building permits. They want you to do it. No, they have no physical office, but they pour online reviews, or they are unlicensed. Sometimes people are unlicensed, especially those that claim to be. I mean, the good thing is that when I was doing my research in St. Lucia, we have some big companies, engineering companies, contracting companies that have all their information. It just makes you feel better that you can actually call the person. You know their number. You know where their office is. You can get a review from somebody who has already used them. It's a little daunting to get people to do things for you. They've never built anything, and all of a sudden they want you to use them. You know what I mean, Andre? But because he's your friend or a friend of a friend, or somebody says you can use that guy, you haven't seen what he has built. You have not seen anything. When you ask him to give you an example, he doesn't have anything there's no reference. So I think you now have to make sure you feel comfortable with the person that you're going to choose to do that for you. Yeah? One of the ways, some of the things that we're saying in terms of avoiding these situations when we are getting ready to build and we're starting to, whether you want to build a wall, whether you want to build a house, whether you want to repair, you should do your research. Ask for references. Ask the contractor for a list of local references that you can contact. And I think a lot of us don't do that, Andre. A lot of us do not ask for references when it comes to things like that. Who can you speak to that have used this guy, which is what I was just saying there?
That's true.
Who can you speak to that? What has he built? Can he show you something and you can get feedback from the person he built it for? So we don't get references, we don't ask anything, we just go into situation. Ask for multiple quotes. That's what one of the things they tell us is shop around and get at least 3 quotes from different contractors based on the same set of criteria. You can shop around, right? So if I'm building something, Andre, even if I know you, I want to ask Jack and Paul to see if we're on the right track. Because you might tell me $50,000 and somebody else will tell me 40, and I'll say to myself, why is it $10,000 less?
Oh, okay.
So it's something you can do in terms of asking for multiple quotes. Good morning. Welcome to Unrestricted.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Andre.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah. Lady, what you're talking about is so true. I could remember some time back, a lady had to build a house. And her friends were telling her, use that contractor. And the man, lady, the man built a house for the person. You could stay in the kitchen. The kitchen so small. You could wash your hands, wash your wells, and cook food at the same time. The stove so close to you. The thing so short. It's so very low, I would say, very low. The kitchen so low. When you go in the kitchen, you have to bend, like you flexing yourself. And the man said he'll sell the house and land and never return to St. Lucia again. You know, them contractors, my lady, and a friend that tell the man to take that contractor. The contractor I won't say people don't eat money. He use all the man's money and do a little shabby thing for the man, like a Chinese man I see that could stay in that house there. Everything is very low. It's very low. Andre Paul. Now you see that contractor, they won't live long. That's why they just die miserable, because they're not, as I said, people don't eat money. They're using the people's money to do papi show for them, you know. My lady, that's so true. That you should continue the program next week, because that's so true.
Thank you.
That's so true, Andre Paul. With them contractors. Some of them don't have license. They cannot even read the tip. They're using other mason, other workers to do the work, and they're all about the place. Kind of thing, Andre Paul. Lady,
Thank you.
That program is so true, so true, so true. You must do your how you say, due diligence.
Yes.
You must do your due diligence to make sure that. And if you are a contractor, you should have photos, houses you build already, cabinets you build already, whatever you work you doing. You should have photos what you do. You can't tell me a contractor and you don't have a photo, you build a house already. What's that again? You're just using people, man. As I tell you, they're dying miserable because they're using people money, and it's not nothing. Buying cars and do all kind of papi show. You see how they die. Thank you, lady.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you so much.
Before you leave.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
welcome.
All right. Let me just give the numbers quickly again. The fixed line is 572-9710. 572-9710. Or the WhatsApp platform, it is 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971.
And you know what the caller was saying, Andre, the level of emotion and how it really hurts when you put your money into something and you cannot see it come into fruition, that is a whole, other subject. Right? The third thing is to get it in writing. Always get estimates in writing and ensure that work never begins without a comprehensive written and signed contract. Something in your hand that is written that you can make reference to. Have your estimates down. The contract should include contact information, the start and completion dates, a detailed and accurate description of the work to be done, material costs, payments arrangements, warranty information, and all verbal promises by the contractor. You have to have that in there. So if anything goes awry, you can make reference to that document and have it signed by both yourself and the contractor. Verifying licenses and insurance. That's the other thing. We don't verify things. And I think that's why a lot of us run into problems. And Andre, let me just say too that is the trust there, the normal trust. Could you imagine sometimes that is why people make those decisions where you just trust someone. So they come, they're your family, they're your, whatever, they're your close friend, you've known them for many years. You skip some of the steps because you trust that they come in for your best interest. And that's where a lot of us make the mistake, is that we decide to trust people without separating that relationship from the business relationship. This is a business relationship. It's not a friendship or we playing in the park. It's a very serious relationship, especially when it comes to business. So some of us just go blindly and trust without getting the verification of things, and then we suffer gravely at the end of the day.
Well, I think the last caller made a very important point related to some of what you're saying there. The person comes recommended by a friend.
Yes, but still, you cannot just trust blindly. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Unrestricted.
Yes. Good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning
to Andre and all the guests who might be listening in.
Morning to you, sir.
Andre, this is your Bajan friend. Happy New Year to you.
I recognize your voice. Happy New Year to you, too.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Now, I'm retired, okay? But I just want to put in my 2 cents worth on this.
Yeah, sure.
Most of the guys nowadays that are into saying they're contractors, they have seen contractors do some funny things and buy some big rides and build a big house and thing, but they're not sure how the guys get the money. So they pick up a tape and call a few friends and say they're a contractor and come in to do business for people. They do not have that training and background. There's a lot of them, right, out there like that. And I don't mean to denigrate the good ones, but there are guys who just come and get into the field because perhaps they had training and nothing else, and they decide, well, this is the easy way. I go and work for a few weeks as a carpenter or something, and then they're automatically they call themselves contractor. That is causing a lot of problems out here for people building. There are masons who can build a mile of wall for you in a day, but if you ask them to come and add on a room on the house for you, they haven't a clue. Because they really cannot measure and calculate to form rooms. Okay? This called for a person who has some good training, they know the maths, they know the angles, etc. There are masons out there who do not know what a standard window height is in a house. They do not know what is a standard door width nor height. So this is where they run into problems, right? So a guy come and hang a door and they got 2 inches under the door, I can almost crawl through under the door. So what do you think about the centerpiece, etc., right?
Yeah.
But getting references, as the lady here said earlier, is very necessary, although this does not truly happen at the lower level of building here in the island or through the Caribbean. People don't usually get references, and this is where they really run into trouble. Because the guy can come and tell you, he built this and he built that. At home in Barbados, I work private, I work for government, all kind of things I did, right? I'm retired now. But I've seen it, and it makes bad for those people who come out here to do a real good job for the clients, right?
Yes.
But I must place some blame on the clients too, because as the lady said, they do not get references to go and get the money from the bank, and somebody comes along, whether it's a friend or what, and they're ready to entrust a massive property in the hands of a person who they really do not have any record of.
That's right.
Right? And that's a serious thing. You have people in Barbados who came along and told an aunt of mine, well, they come from the government and they're out there to repair the houses for the elderly. And my aunt put $200-300 in the guy's hand and never saw the guy again.
Oh my goodness.
And that is not just one instance. There are many instances like that. So the client has to do their homework.
That's right.
As well as you have to have references. You have to have references of the people that you're dealing with. I don't care whether they're a banker, a contractor, a mason, or whatever, a plumber. Because there are people out there who just figure they can come out and scam people for money. One of the worst things can happen to any person who put out money to a court contractor is that they come and... Another thing too, let me put in this. You see QS? Andrew, you know QS?
Yeah.
QS.
Quantity surveying. Yeah, quantity surveying. To be able to calculate the material that is going to go into a building. This is a specialty, Andre. Just like a lawyer is a special person dealing with legal matters. QS is a very, very technical area. So that you know if the job is going to take 5,000 blocks, 50 bags of cement, 300 bags of cement, so on and so on. Most guys out there cannot do that. And they shy away from going to a qualified quantity surveyor because that might cost you another $1,500 or $2,000 on the quote that you given to the person. And the person will be wondering, why calculate these materials, or somebody else give me a quote and they don't have that. But the other person that give them a quote might be able to do the QS. So they put in $500 instead of the $2,000 that you as a little contractor have to go to a professional now to do it for you. Get what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So these are some of the hiccups, Andrew, Andre, that people come upon and they cry after, but the sad thing is done already, right? You have to know how to calculate these things, and it is a lot of maths involved that the average little guy out there is not going to be able to sit down in his office for 2 or 3 hours a day and do it, right? Although you have the computer now can spit out a lot of information, but then are they computer literate? If you just come from being a carpenter or a mason like I was at one time, are you computer literate to be able to use the program that the computer has on it now to put in your information and let the computer spit out this thing for you, right? So that's my little input. I don't want to hog the show, but
Thank
I
you
just
so
want
much.
to put in putting something on that, because that is some of the angles that we have to look at, whether as contractor or a client out there that's shelling out money to somebody. Okay,
Thank you
so much.
And then they might find a house that is quarter finished and the contract is gone, and you left all in an empty bag. You can't pay back your mortgage, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Have
you
a good
so
day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That was a great contribution,
Yes.
Andre, because these are some of the things we're talking about, and he made it a point to talk about the references, and I think sometimes too, like he was saying, we sometimes cut corners, so we want to pay cheaper for something, but if you pay cheaper for something, that's exactly what you'll get, a cheap, you know what I'm saying, Andre, and sometimes the losing of your money, but that's not to minimize how painful it is that when you trust people, and it's blind trust, so to speak, that you end up with the shorter end of the stick.
Okay, we have another call.
Good morning, welcome to Unrestricted.
Andre, Paul and Lotus, good morning, how you all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning
You're
to you,
good. How are you?
sir.
This topic you all have there, that's a very interesting talk. Do you know if I'm supposed to build a house in St. Lucia, I will not have that problem?
Why is that?
You do the right things.
Because some of those local contractors, they do a lot of nonsense. I go to Reno Kajada, I bring him to the site where I want to do my house or whatever it is, ask him how much it's going to cost, pay him, and just let it do the work. Reno Kajada, as far as I've heard of him, he don't do nonsense.
Okay.
That's for sure. I know a lot of them will not be happy with what I'm saying there. But, some of those fellas, they just want to take your money. Especially if they know you have a few dollars, you're stuck in that. So I think St. Lucians should know what they're doing. When they want their work to be done properly, go to somebody they know that is
credible. Credible or
competent.
reputable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody who has a track record.
Yeah, track record, yeah.
But the problem, as you said, Lotus, is the fact that for a lot of us, we maybe can't afford those people.
Yes, and sometimes we put
need
our
to
trust.
cut corners,
cut
unfortunately.
corners,
Yeah. But caller, your point is well taken.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
That's
take
it
care.
for me today.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Yes,
caller.
yes. So that is the problem.
Boy,
a lot of us can't afford to
it's
pay
It's
big bucks.
very, very sad, and sometimes. But again, it's just the people who just don't have the integrity to do the right thing.
Okay.
That if somebody trusts you, you do the right thing.
All right. Final call.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Happy New Year to you, Lotus.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
Morning.
Andre, you get your new Happy New Year already, so I can happy.
That's fine.
Morning
That's
to you.
fine. No problem. I got more than one already.
Let me tell you, Andre might charge me for that commercial this morning, but it's okay. I don't mind. I can pay. That is why I want to come to St. Lucia and start Bernie's construction. I have already started shipping my tools because let me tell you, I've had so many people complaining and telling me, Bernard, I can't wait for you to come to renovate my home. Lotus, the same things you complain about, people taking people money. And, they're coming up there and they're doing the same thing in the U.S. They're doing the same thing in the U.S. And some of them go as far as making people work for them and don't pay the people,
Yes.
They get their money, they probably take half of it already, or they get paid somehow, some way different, and they cannot pay their workers. They're doing the same thing up here. So I am going to tell you, soon there will be Bernie's construction in St. Lucia because I'm coming down to make a difference in helping people. I have had too many of my friends complaining to me. I give people to do tiles for me. Less than 2 days, the tiles break already. Or the tiles is so hard on the floor because the guys use cement to put the tiles. They have so much complaint. People have told me so much. They have given people their money and it's years they can't find the guys to come back to do the job for them. Or the guy do a haphazard job. I am coming back to do things different. And that is why I want to come back. I want to come back to open my new company, Bernie's Construction.
Thank
Andrew,
you.
I'll pay you for the commercial. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you.
with interest. and I want it in US currency, yeah? Well,
No matter how you want to get it, you get it.
okay, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Yes, yes. Mhm.
Thank you. So Andre, we
It's a
should
friend of mine.
up a little bit. Yeah,
Friend
but,
of
he,
mine.
that, but
From the
that's-
diaspora, actually.
Yes, you see, and so many people complain for
Now,
true.
you know, it's just a pity when these programs start. It's as if, you know,
It
our
takes a
people
while
need
to
to get
warm up. They have to warm
Start calling.
Yes,
Now, look, we have
yes.
to end the show.
Yeah, you understand? But I'll say again, one of the things is to confirm payment to all suppliers and subcontractors that says that they all have been paid for their work, because sometimes they tell you certain people need to be paid and these people have received the money and you have no idea. And the other thing is that we have to arrange a payment schedule, think about future issues, and get a receipt and keep your contract. A lot of us do not deal with receipts. That's one of the things where we make a big mistake, because if you don't have a receipt, it's your word against mine, saying that you got the money, right? And some of us refuse to get receipts. Let us have receipts so that if anything happens, like you say, I remember a story you were saying, I don't know if it's your grandfather, whoever, who had all his receipts to confirm that he had paid for, you know, his taxes or whatever.
Correct.
So
it happened with Wasco as well.
You see, so you must have your
And he
receipts.
had his receipts.
If you have your receipts, somebody cannot tell you that you did not pay. You didn't pay. So,
but what do you do these days, Lotus? Because apparently the material that is being given to customers, it fades very quickly now.
Well, that's why things are on phones now, Andre. We put a lot of things in our
Take a
phone.
pic.
You take a pic. You put it online. You put it in your email. You know, that kind of thing. So we can also use that to our advantage. But find qualified contractors. We have online directories. I mean, you have St. Lucia Business Online, where you can find people, you can ask questions, and there are a few companies that you can see for yourself, and, you know, get professional consultancy firms to help you also determine how you can, you know, make good decisions. Because, Andre, I think it's really painful. Sometimes it affects our future bigly. According to certain people. And sometimes we are so traumatized by the experience that we never want to build again. We never want to, you know, do a repair. We never want to do anything because of what we go through.
And it's the promises, you know,
and
the
it's
promises.
And people
I'll come, I'll do this.
But when you live like that, it will follow you, Andre. We have to tell ourselves that it will find us. If you make decisions like that, knowing that you are taking people's money and not giving them the value for it, it will follow you. So I thank you for listening, and thank you for the callers. I really appreciate it. I was not too sure how it would be this morning, but I think it eventually became something that I think people are going to take some lessons from, and hopefully we can make some better decisions when we're building.
Indeed. Okay, Lotus, thank you very much as always for your service. And this has been Unrestricted, heard and seen on REV-UP St. Lucia every Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. with Lotus. So thank you very much for listening, and thanks for viewing. Lotus, have yourself a nice day.
Yeah, you too, Andre. Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Okay, so now stand by for Hard Drive. That's coming up next. Remember, you can watch Hard Drive on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, and also today on DBS Television. That's coming up in just a moment, so please stand by. Those of you on the various platforms, we'll just take a little break and get back to you for Hard Drive.